I have a few slides, so I was wondering if somebody would run over to right quad and turn off the lights on this side. This paper is entitled 1984 Revisited, the Nano Revolution. George Orwell wrote his famous novel 1984 35 years ago. He described a society in which people were controlled not by military power but by thought control, and thought control was achieved by the control of information. Now, technology has brought about many of the things that Orwell wrote about, and yet because the setting is different than what Orwell described, we don't recognize that these changes have actually taken place. Orwell's society was grim and gloomy, and yet ours is modern and comfortable and happy. Now, nobody can deny that the micro-revolution has brought about great changes in our lives. We've seen the transition from tidal waves to microwaves, from very large fish to microfish, and from Michael row the boat ashore to micro the boat ashore. But the reason that the changes Orwell described have gone unnoticed has been another revolution, a revolution that operates on a scale 1,000 times smaller than the micro-revolution, and I'm talking, of course, about the nano-revolution. In order to describe the nano-revolution, it's necessary to go back into the history of information management just a little bit and review some of the technological changes that have made possible the control of information as we know it today. In the early days before modern electronics, computers consisted of vast numbers of vacuum tubes. Now, this was no particular problem in itself, but maintenance was a real nightmare because nobody wanted to do the vacuum cleaning. Also, when the early computers went down, they just didn't give any elaborate error messages. They just quit operating. So somebody would have to go into the memory of the computer and actually read the contents of the memory at that time that it went down, and this is known as a core dump. Of course, after this happened, somebody would have to boot the system. But there were tremendous advances in the development of memory for computers. Now, all the memory that existed in those early computers can fit in chips that fit in the size in the palm of your hand. Memory units are also very easy to install and remove. Here, a young technician has just installed some bubble memory into this computer. Input-output devices have also seen great advances. It used to be that copying a file to disk was cumbersome and time-consuming. And while magnetic tape could store millions of characters of information, reading from tape was also very slow. So programmers and technicians set out to find ways to improve disk access times. Unfortunately, these attempts often resulted in head crashes. But improvements were made, and now it's routine to use disks online and to copy them to tape for backup. We've made some very great advances in input-output, from paper tape and key punch card I/O to magnetic tape and disk I/O to one just announced by the Proto-SIG on Rural Information Services, EIE-IO. New machines have also made possible a variety of specialized tasks. For example, in the area of data security, this printer feeds its output directly into the shredder. One more hardware development should be noticed, and that's the ability to hook up several computers together into networks. We've seen Ethernet, ARPANET, and now the final stage in this development, FinalNet. Along with the development of more powerful machines to do information work has been the development of more powerful software. Now, George Orwell described a dark and dingy workroom where references in newspapers could be altered, but he didn't realize that with intelligent text editors, the task could be made effortless and even enjoyable. Text editors are only one kind of word processor. This is another example. Another popular software product is the electronic spreadsheet. We have many electronic spreadsheet packages available today, including VisiCalc, OmniCalc, and now one that animal lovers love, CalCan. Now, I don't know how many of you saw Breaking Away on TV, on network TV the other night. As publicity chairman, that was one of the hardest things I had to pull off. But you remember the people that cut limestone in that movie? They're called the Cutters. Even they have an electronic spreadsheet program now. It was written in India. It's called CalCutter. Other developments in software for information management include database management systems, and one pictured here, electronic mail. And that pretty much brings us up to the present. As I mentioned, the setting of 1984 is a little different than what Orwell described. Instead of a menacing big brother, the symbol of the nano revolution will be Nanny, a grandmother-type figure, although she's also been referred to as the Little Mother. And just as we have had Orwell's book for 35 years to warn us of what's coming, we've also been warned about the nano revolution. If you look at any of the old Mork and Mindy television shows, Mork always came out and said, "Nano, nano," so don't say we haven't been warned. Thank you.